What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I've got some great news for you guys here today, folks. Now, we know about all the indictments against Donald Trump, and they've been going after the government. As a matter of fact, state and local governments have been weaponized, right alongside the federal government, have been weaponized against Donald Trump and Republicans, but they've been going after Trump pretty hard and heavy for the past, 2 years, something like that. Raiding his home, you got all this stuff up in New York, and it's not just the criminal stuff, right? Because yeah, that's pretty bad within itself, but look at the fraud case. Y'all remember that case where there was nobody actually defrauded, right? The quote-unquote supposed victim come out and said, yeah, no, we're fine. He paid the loan back. Nobody was defrauded. We're willing to do business with him again. We don't know why y'all are going after him for fraud, because there was no fraud, because he thought his property was worth X. And then they come back and said, no, we think it's worth this, right? Which makes absolutely no sense. It's totally ridiculous on its face. And then guess what? He was forced to pay, $450 million. What was really the cherry on the top of that is he actually finds a company, right, to insure a bond for that much money. And then the New York, Tisha James comes in and says, well, we don't know if we trust that all that much. Like, what are you talking about? You give this preposterous number, and then you're like, no, we don't know if that can actually come up with the funds to pay this out. It's like, oh my goodness, what are these people here, right? What are these people? But we've got some great news, folks. Enough of my filibustering, right? Check this out, y'all. Georgia Appellate Court disqualifies Fani Willis's office. Right, the office and Fani Willis, they're gone. Her office cannot prosecute that case anymore. So, if this case wasn't already on the back burner and pretty much going away, right now it's been outright demolished because we'll get into that. Let's see what the court had to say right quick, and then we'll get into the opinions of the corporate press, because that's exactly what it is. After carefully considering the trial court's findings in its order, we conclude that it erred by failing to disqualify D.A. Willis and her office, the court wrote in its opinion, stating that the remedy crafted by the trial court to prevent an ongoing appearance of impropriety did nothing to address the appearance of impropriety that existed at times when D.A. Willis was exercising her broad pretrial discretion about who to prosecute and what charges to bring. The court said that the mere appearance of impropriety is typically not enough to support disqualification, but this case is the exception, as disqualification is the only way to restore public confidence. This is the rare case in which disqualification is mandated, and no other remedy will suffice to restore public confidence in the integrity of these proceedings, the court wrote. That is right. So, you're gone outright. Now, we know exactly what Fani Willis did. She had this relationship, and that's what the corporate press, they're coming out and talking about. Oh, well, she had this relationship, and now they're prosecuting love, y'all. Yeah, CNN's whinging. All the corporate press, MSNBC, all of them, they're all whinging about this, because that was the last vestige of hope to go after Donald Trump, for crying out loud. And it was already put on hold, and now it's been absolutely nuked. The appellate court has come in and dropped the bomb on it and just destroyed the whole thing. And the corporate press is outright whinging, y'all. But you know what? Before we get into that, y'all do me a big favor and smash that like button. If you're new around here, I would greatly appreciate if you could just look right below the video and hit that subscribe button, because that's the only way to stay up to date with exactly how you're being manipulated by the corporate press. And you do want to keep up to date with that, right? Because the corporate press is on a relentless crusade to manipulate everything they try to give to you on a silver platter, if you will. So you want to stay up to date with that. And this is a good way to do it, because that's what we do. We analyze corporate press news and break it down logically, hence logical response. But I got a meme to play for you guys right quick. I just want to get out of the way because this is freaking hilarious. Check this out.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
All this time we've been together, thought a thing would last forever. Through thick and thin, good or bad, all I was happy, never sad. Now it's all gone sour, getting worse by the hour. Let's break up now. No.
You've never gone to a cabin with this?
No.
Yeah, I can't help but laugh about that. It's just one of the funniest memes. Like, and there was no, we didn't speed nothing up, slow anything down. That was real time in the court proceedings when they were questioning. That's Nathan Wade, by the way, if you don't know, Nathan's hot dog right there. They were questioning them about their quote unquote relationship in the hearing to disqualify Fani Willis, the original hearing, right? If you didn't see that or come across it, that's what that was from. And yeah, that was real time. That's how long it took him to answer that question. So we made a meme out of it, naturally. But let's get into the whinging of the corporate press right quick, y'all, because you gotta love this, for y'all. You gotta love it. In the interest of getting the story out quickly, I'm going to limit myself to a few points aimed more at the non-lawyers out there. The conflict of issue doesn't arise from her merely sleeping with a colleague, which that is correct. It doesn't, but that's what the corporate press is trying to bring to you. Oh, she slept or she had a boyfriend, right? That's impropriety. No, that's not the impropriety, y'all. The conflict stems from her using public funds of, at last count, I think, $700,000 to pay her then boyfriend's law firm to act as special prosecutor in the case. While acting in that role, they went on several vacations and a cruise for which he paid, Willis says she reimbursed him in cash. Unfortunately, cash doesn't leave a trail, so hard proof of reimbursement isn't available. The argument then goes on to hold that she financially benefited from the arrangement and that doing so could have motivated her to pursue or expand charges. Also, recall that it was Trump that originally filed the complaint, though he later joined it. Trump wasn't. Sorry, I misquoted that. Also, recall that it wasn't Trump. I apologize for that. She can appeal the case to the Georgia Supreme Court. If they uphold the disqualification, which applies to her entire office, not just her, then a state commission would look to find another Georgia DA willing to take the case. Yeah, good luck with doing that, by the way, but as a matter of fact, this is a left-wing publication saying this as well. Check this out. I'd say the odds of finding one are lousy. In earlier articles, a number of DAs have indicated an unwillingness to take the case. Also, keep in mind that most counties in Georgia are more rural and conservative. DA is an elected office in Georgia, so many DAs would likely consider the potential political consequences of accepting a complicated case and coming up to speed on it, and then spending taxpayer dollar money to pursue it. I'm sorry, I'm screwing up badly here today. For some reason with my reading, don't know why, but apologize for that, y'all. You have to bear with me here while we get the news. And the DA would know going in that, at least insofar as defendant Trump is involved, the case probably can't be pursued while he's in office unless the DA really wants to go out on a limb. That is right. So, good luck finding another DA to prosecute this, right? So they're either going to have to go somewhere else, find another DA that's willing to take up the mantle, which, once again, like I said, good luck doing that in Georgia, right? Considering the red wave we just had in November. So good luck doing that. So that's pretty much out of the question here. But the entire office is disqualified. So that's not just Fani Willis, right? And it's not just, any employees within that office. You might think, well, blah, 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 right? Maybe or so you get another DA elected, 4 years from now? Or I don't know how long she's been there. She's been there at least 2 years. So another 2 years from now, you get another DA elected in office. So I think they have four. I think in Georgia, I think the DAs have 4-year terms. I know they do here in Louisiana, but anyway. So even if another DA comes in, that office can no longer prosecute Donald Trump, right? Which is insane. This is great news for Donald Trump. Huge win. This pretty much means this case is outright destroyed because I really don't think another DA's office is going to be willing to pick this up. You know, there's significant political ramifications for any other DA picking this up. Seriously, political ramifications for this, right? They're going to be primaried. They're going to be booted as soon as they get, you know, another election comes up. They'll probably get booted out because people can see reality for what it is. We know what Trump did in 2020. Nobody is blind to the fact of what happened in 2020. You want to go after all these other people, right? Like I've discussed this at length several times, right? The state has to put together electors, and that's what this case was about. The electors case, right? So the state has to put those together. You want to go after the state legislature for putting together slates of electors illegitimately, go right ahead. Donald Trump cannot and did not put together slates of electors in, what was it, seven of the 7 states, did not put those together himself, right? Nor did any of his campaign, his team. None of them put that together. They can't. That's a state job. So you would have to go after the state actors on that. And in some cases, they did on some of these. You want to go after them, go right ahead. Let's see how that fares in court, because good luck doing that, because they have wide discretion to put together slates of electors, right? So good luck with that, as a matter of fact. But hey, they're doing what they're doing anyway. But all this other stuff, right, all this garbage prosecutions against Donald Trump, they're just falling by the wayside, one after another, after another, after another. This is great news, and this is something I talk about kind of often, if you will, right? Like, they're not just going away, right? You don't get cases just go away like this, regardless if he's president or not, because if these people really felt that this guy committed a crime, it would not be hard to get a Georgia DA to pick this case up. If they really felt, if they looked at the evidence and said, yes, there's definitely a crime here, he's responsible for this. Hey, he's president, sure, you can't go after him now, but you can wait till he comes out of office and go after him then. But they're not doing that, are they? Right? Like, we don't know about Georgia yet, but the other ones, right, especially the federal cases, They most certainly reserve the right to hold on to these cases to prosecute Trump when he comes out of office. They have no problems going after former presidents. So we know that's not the issue, but they're dropping these cases anyway. I mean, all you got to do is look at the falsifying of business records case, right? That when they had the conviction, they had it right there in the palm of his hand. All they had to do was sentence him. That's it. Boom. But hang on, he put that on the... Hang on, we're going to hold off on doing this because he's become president, right? That's the excuse. But is that really... Does that make sense? No, because it's a state case. He can't get immunity from that, for that, right? They know that these are going to be turned over on appeal. These judges know this. They're deranged. That's why they went ahead with the trial. That's why they give this bogus instructions to get the conviction, to get a political win in the here and now. These people are single order thinkers. They didn't think, was it Juan Merchan? Didn't think about the ramifications of what he was doing in his own courtroom at that time, right? This is going to have major ramifications down the road, right? There's been several ethics complaints filed against Juan Merchan for this because, there's been several due process violations that were committed in that courtroom to Donald Trump. Not to mention conspiracy against rights. Right? I mean, so there's so many different things in this one case that they can go after not only Alvin Bragg, but Juan Merchan now, because he got himself involved. He gave these ridiculous jury instructions that violated due process, right? Like, there was due process violations before the jury instructions, during the jury instructions, and after the jury instructions. It's like, right, because the misdemeanor was elevated to a felony in furtherance of another crime, but the entire time of the case, they wouldn't say what that other crime was. They never said it. It was only when we got the jury instructions did we find out what the underlying crime was. And come to find out, it was a possibility. You have a multiple choice, 3 different crimes, A, B, or C. Right? 2 of those were federal crimes, which, by the way, none of them he was charged with. He was never found guilty of any of these crimes, which is another due process violation right there. But they didn't have to be unanimous on which one. Like, the jury didn't have to be unanimous on which crime. You know, a couple could say, it was this one. A couple more could say this one. And this, it's like, okay, hang on, that's another due process violation. It's like there's so many within this thing, not telling him what the underlying crime was, blah, 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 you name it. I just named a bunch of them, but that's not it. There's other, inconsistencies with this case that will get it thrown out on appeal. And I think Juan Merchan knows this. But once again, they're surface level thinkers. They didn't think about this at the time when they were violating his rights, as a matter of fact. So there's ramifications for all of this. But I think I've rambled on for long enough, y'all. Look, I've got my company Christmas party to go to this evening, so there's not going to be a video for in the morning. I know, cry me a river, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, y'all. But, it is what it is. I only have so much time to do this. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section, because to me it's wild. These cases against Trump just keep falling by the wayside. And all the excuses, he got elected as president. Well, hang on. There's definitely legal pathways out of this. There's definitely legal pathways for them to go after Donald Trump after he leaves office. But they're not taking those pathways, which is very, very telling if you ask me. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Maybe I'm missing something, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.